I'm, big on the 80-20 rule too. Hey, like, go hard during the week,
Yep.
and then on the weekend, go out, have a burger or whatever.
Enjoy your life a little bit,
Kind of the happiness aspect of it is big. If maybe something's not the healthiest, but like if you find a lot of enjoyment and maybe you're going out to eat with people and you're having really good, fulfilling conversations and stuff like that, that health benefit by far outweighs.
I agree.
Maybe your body having to detox a little bit from it.
Yeah.
You're getting a very high net positive. So it's like I always think of things as positive or negative, like collectively together.
That's huge.
I think a lot of people don't really do that. They're just like black and white, yes or no. But it's like, no, you have to look at the situation.
Welcome to the Full Field Podcast with your host, Matt Tack.
Dr. Alfred Alessi. What's going on, bro?
What's going on, man?
It's good to be here, man.
I'm so excited about this. We
I'm
have a guest
excited
today.
for today, man.
We got one. We got another one.
Off the streets,
rode through
caught
there,
me
yeah.
while I was trying to go to work.
Off the streets in a blue suit coat, bro. You guys looking
This guy
sharp.
looks dapper.
I'm here in joggers and a t-shirt, but today, man, we're excited. We have Dr. Jordan Axe on the show. Dr. Axe is the founder of Axe Holistic Medicine here in Tampa, Florida. He graduated with a bachelor's degree from Excelsior College, and then you went on to get your doctor of chiropractic degree from Life University, and then now you run multiple practices here in the Tampa area. You love to adventure. You love to travel. How you doing, man? Good to have you.
Yeah, dude. Thanks for having me here.
Of course, bro.
Yeah, I mean, life's an adventure, and I'm big on being on purpose and doing things you love, and something I've been thinking a lot, on that health journey is just how important it is to have joy and fulfillment and things like that. So yeah, I just got back, trip, did a 5,000 meter mountain. It was one of the things on my bucket list.
Yeah.
Out in the coffee region of Colombia. It was just
It looked cold.
beautiful. It was cold. My hands are still cold. But yeah, it was really enjoyable. I love to get out in nature. I really love building things. So I was in engineering actually before chiropractic.
Okay.
So I got really intrigued on how to fix the body. We're very mechanical, and with chiropractic, structurally, scoliosis, posture,
Right.
which then kind of lead me more into functional medicine, where you really got to be a detective. Like, how does the body operate? How can we tweak this to get this to work
Right.
optimally? One of the things people are, a lot of doctors are missing now, it's like they're following a book. A detective would make a better doctor than a doctor.
Yeah, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Always learning.
I mean, that's
Exactly.
just the way you got to think.
Yeah,
Yeah.
100%.
So
man.
that's what gives me joy and fulfillment too, is always having a new challenge. A lot of people think, well, I just want to get to here and then I made it. Well, the people that make it to there end up really depressed, right?
Yeah.
It's about that continual growth and learning and education and going on new trips, travel.
Yeah.
That's
It's huge.
what I think is
Tell
big.
us about your story. I'm so intrigued because I didn't know that. But so you were an engineer,
Yep.
went over to medicine. What created that shift? What was the story? What was the narrative?
Yeah, so I was in Nashville in engineering, and I was working at my brother's office.
Okay.
And I shadowed an engineer, and he's like in a cubicle, like on a computer. And then I saw my brother, he's like, doing talks, and he's like with patients, making a huge difference. And, talking to him, I was like, oh, well, even in chiropractic, there's a lot of engineering techniques where you're structurally working on the body. You could go into nutrition. You could just have doctor behind your name and do podcasts all day. You could, there's places to go besides sitting in a cubicle drawing up drawings all day.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I love to build stuff, but, to me, that was a better career path.
Awesome, man. And if I'm not mistaken, it was kind of your own health story that maybe kind of led into that, right? You had some issues, I know, as a kid, with some allergic kind of stuff that was going on. Tell us something about that, man. How that sparked your purpose and your drive.
Yeah, absolutely. That was kind of the turning point. I had a lot of health issues at the time, chronic sinus infections, just tired, not sleeping well, kind of some mood issues. Just got worse. And what really did it was when I got really bad eczema.
Okay.
I'm putting the steroid creams on. They're giving me antibiotics. And then that's when my brother's like, hey, go to a functional medicine doctor. So he found me a good place. And 9 months later, I did a stool test, which was the biggest thing that they did for me. Found all my markers that were off, 90-day protocol of getting the bad stuff out, getting the good stuff in, right? They found out that I had an autoimmune disease just in the process of doing the testing. And pretty much 9 months of, diet changes, different testing and fixing those markers.
Yeah.
And this is stuff, I'd been to tons of dermatologists, different doctors. I remember the dermatologist, you know, with the eczema thing, like, hey, my mom's like, hey, does, you know, anything he's eating have anything to do with this? Nope, diet has nothing to do with his skin.
That's so
totally
frustrating.
separate issues.
Yeah.
I was a kid. I'm like, this guy's lying.
Yeah.
I'm not even
Yeah.
that smart, and I know this is a lie,
Something's off
right?
here. Yeah.
Like, and that's when, you know, I knew there had to be. But anyway, just going through that 9 months, like my whole health was autoimmune disease went away, eczema went away, my skin cleared up,
Nice.
and I was like, that wasn't that easy, but it really wasn't that hard,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yeah.
I was like, I want to start doing that, you know, doing something with my life where I can make that same impact on other people.
That's awesome, man. What was the autoimmune condition, if you don't mind me asking?
Hashimoto's thyroiditis.
It's funny, man. Like, I had the same thing, right? So I was already a chiropractor at the time.
Yeah.
But I was working 50 hours, you know, adjusting all day long. I was a treating doc. My kids were just born, so I had infant twins at home, and I went through this like stressful state that I think was like kind of the barrel overflowing, if you will, that kind of set that off.
Yeah.
Started feeling crazy fatigue. You know, the listeners kind of know that or the story, but I ran some blood work on myself too. And the doc that I was working for at the time was a functional medicine doctor. So we ran labs. She kind of showed me what was going on. And then I was able to discover that it was really like a leaky gut thing, you know?
Exactly,
And so like you take a Hashimoto's thing and you go to just a thyroid doctor or an endocrinologist, they're just going to give you a bunch of T3 and medicine to like keep your symptoms at bay, if you will. But they're not going to look into the gut. A lot of them don't even know that connection, right?
Oh, you know, you see a GI doctor if you have a GI issue, right?
That's right.
It's like,
And then you're hopping around from doc to doc, right? Nobody's really addressing the root cause. So I think that's a lot of what you do. I mean, your practice has roots in the logo, right? Like, so
we
it's
used to
like,
be called the Root Cause Clinic. We get to the root cause, changed our name, but yeah, that was the whole premise.
Right.
Figure out what's
I think that happens all the time too. You know, I mean, like when you're focused on health, but if you're so deep into the weeds, I feel like it happens to a lot of doctors as well. You know, they have good intentions for other people, but they're like inward focused. That's what I actually appreciate about you as I was doing some research, is that you focus on that fitness side as well. Hey, I gotta make sure I'm modeling that to my like students at the end of the day that I'm bringing into my clinic. How is that, like, what narrative changed like there for you? Have you always been healthy kind of like from a fitness perspective?
Yeah, you know, basketball, golf, you know, I played a lot of sports and stuff like that. So, you know, I've always been into fitness. I'm not a big gym guy. Like, to me, it's like, oh, I gotta go to the gym.
Yeah.
But, you know, some people love it, you know, it's kind of their outlet.
Yeah.
But, like, you know, that's why I like hiking, get outside, basketball. Like, I want to be, that's why I live in Florida.
Yeah.
I want to work out outside.
Yeah.
You know what I'm
That's
saying?
awesome,
It's like a little bit more natural to me. And, but yeah, I think exercise for a lot of people is a hard part, but I'm like, hey, find something that you love outside, whether it's yoga or basketball or whatever, you know, make it beach volley, I don't know.
Yeah.
You know, make it fun. I think that's a big part of it.
Yeah, it's huge. I was watching a reel that you were like, I'm so like this too. But I was watching your reel where you're like, dude, just find stuff in your backyard that you physically can work out with and pick it up and work out with it.
Yeah.
And they're like, literally, you could use anything. And like, that's so true. You can use your body weight. You can find like rocks on a beach. Like, anything that's added resistance can be like a tool to create, you know, some sort of aesthetic that you can promote, like kind of an exercise environment where you're burning yourself out maybe a little bit. But I love that because I always look for that. Like, what could I do in the water, like real quick at the beach to just like have fitness in there as a quick routine that I can get on my next thing. So it's cool.
Yeah, I just, you know, going by, you know, mindset, you know, that's one of your big pillars, which I absolutely love. But, you know, whether it's fitness or health or whatever, you know, it's people overcomplicate things. It's like, if you really want something, you'll just find a way. Oh, well, I don't have time to go to the gym. Facebook Marketplace is out of weights. I don't know. It's like, just, you'll figure if you really want something, just don't make it complicated. Just look around you and just, you can always find a solution, especially when it comes to health. Like, I wish people would really start to try to be a little bit more resourceful. Hey, I know I need to work out. Well, yeah, hey, you got a 10-minute break at work? Go do a wall sit for 10 minutes. You'll be sweating your butt off at the end of it.
Yeah.
And you got a great workout.
Right.
Like, that wasn't that hard, you know? So I think with health, we overcomplicate it sometimes, and people get in their own way. And that's one thing I love doing with patients, too, is like, hey, how about we do this? Oh, yeah, easy. How about we do this? Okay.
Yeah.
You know, but that's kind of the mindset part.
Yeah, and like I think, like you said, overcomplicating it, and then that leads to like not doing anything. People are like, well, I can't do 3 days a week, this many sets, this many reps at the gym, blah blah blah. So I'm just not gonna do anything.
Yeah.
It's like, well, that's not the best answer either. It's like figure something out. Go for a walk, man. Like as long as you're moving your body, right? And people don't understand too that like doing certain like chores or projects can be physical activity, right? You're outside, you're building something, you're putting, stuff together for your kids, like use it as a physical activity.
Yeah.
But, we talked a little bit about kind of the approach that you take, right? Obviously getting to the root cause of somebody's health issues. Tell me, man, what are like some of the biggest things that you help people with in your practice or that you address? I think gut health is
gut health.
one of the huge ones, right?
Yeah, I would say just like, because I had an autoimmune disease, thyroid issue, but, COVID and everything that's happened, so many gut issues now. I think autoimmune, there's just a giant population of people that the doctors can't even diagnose them. Like, the doctor's like literally like, we don't really know. We're not even going to diagnose you. It's like, I think a lot of that's just autoimmune issues, right?
Yeah,
and
manifesting in
your immune system can react in a million different ways. The doctors can't even come up with a million different words. So it's like, and that's why I did put like a little webinar together, like, what I did. And I feel like for immune, right, you got the gut. That's where the immune system lives. You got to address that.
Yeah.
The other two legs, deficiency, toxicity. If you have a toxin that's not your body, your immune system's going to react.
Right.
That's like the second immune, right? And if you're deficient and your immune system doesn't have what it needs, we all know if you're sick, take vitamin C, it's going to help your immune system. So obviously if you don't have enough of that kind of stuff, that can cause an issue. And then the fourth leg, I like to look at infections.
Okay.
Well, what is your immune system goal? Well, it's just to kill things that are not your body. So if you have hidden infections, people are like, no, I got tested. I don't have any infections. I'm not, I'm like, well, we all have candida. If your candida gets a little bit high, you technically don't have an infection, but your immune system is attacking it like you do.
Yeah, that balance is off.
Right. Or viruses kind of overgrow in your system. Hey, you don't have the flu, you don't have COVID, but the viruses are like half of as if you did.
Right.
That's upregulating your immune system, triggering autoimmune. That's taking energy from your body, making you tired. I would say autoimmune, I think, is the big thing, especially Americans are struggling with that are causing issues. And those are the four things I really like to look at with patients.
Yeah.
For most patients, it's all four.
Yeah.
It's a common.
Yeah.
I think that the other big problem is, everyone wants a magic bullet. Well, diagnose me with something. What do I have and what's the one problem? No, you have 100 problems.
Yeah.
Okay? And
you got a lot of
it's not that black and white, right?
This one problem is causing 20% of your issues. This problem is causing 5% of your issues.
Yeah.
This problem is causing 1% of your issue, right?
Yeah.
So let's categorize and let's go after the big ones first.
Most important.
And that might resolve a lot of your issues. I think that's the other big problem is people don't realize, well, you got to fix 20%, 5%, 10%.
Yeah.
And then maybe you can trigger your health where you want it to go. You got to put your head down. A lot of people do one thing. Oh, that didn't work.
Yeah.
No, it's not that it didn't work, right? It's like hiking. It's like, oh, I took 2 steps. I didn't make it there. Well, no, you were doing the right thing. You just had a lot.
You got to do it.
You just got to keep going,
There's
right?
more to
You got to
it.
take a couple turns and then you'll get there.
Yeah. Right.
I think that how do you go about, because this is one thing I think you had mentioned, you're like, one of the major hurdles with anyone is mindset, right? Because it's like the direction of that. You were talking about energy. All the energy is going after the autoimmune.
Yeah.
And so like then how is the mindset created? So like when you sit with a patient and you're like, man, you've a lot of problems. You know what I mean? And they're like, oh my gosh, what do I do? Then it becomes, all right, how do you tap into that mindset early on to like, hey, we got to get momentum going first.
Yeah.
Or like, what is maybe some of the conversations that you have with like a client that comes in to like, all right, we're going to work on the mindset first. Or is even that a thing with you? Practice.
That's the best place to start. I wouldn't say always start there.
Okay.
But I just try to find the biggest thing that's going to get someone feeling better right away.
Okay.
I think hormones and stuff are important. A lot of times it's not a root cause issue, but hey, if I can do some in-depth testing, hey, you got overgrowth in your gut, let's take some herbs, knock that down. Hey, these 2 hormones are tanked. Let's give you some herbs and supplements to boost those up. Now that might get someone feeling a lot better pretty quickly.
Yeah.
Now they
No, I
get some momentum now. They're more a little ready to have that mental conversation,
Yeah.
you know, like, so I just think getting someone feeling better and giving them some hope at the beginning is the most important thing so you can get some momentum and reducing stress in your life and, you know, fixing your marriage and all, you know, it's like, hey, maybe that's a root cause issue, but sometimes people don't have it in them quite yet to do that.
I love that, man.
You know?
Yeah.
So.
Quick wins. Got it. Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, get them feeling good, and then maybe there's more buy-in, right? Now they're like, wow, like, I think I can do this, versus that maybe it's a little bleak outlook at the beginning when they've been feeling like crap for years, you know?
Yeah. So like I said, the order's important, but getting people moving feeling better moving first is the most important thing.
Yeah.
So, you know, patient walks in the door, they're there for a consultation to figure out whatever their health ailment is. Where do you start? Obviously, you're going to listen to the patient and get from them their history, lab testing, diagnostics, I'm assuming, right? On the front end. Tell me a little bit about, like, what kind of tests you like to run. You said you look into hormones from time to time, GI testing and stool testing and stuff like that.
Yep. Stool testing, probably number one things that I run.
Okay.
Like I said, I think that's a root cause problem for a lot of people. We do a lot of more saliva and urine type hormone and adrenal testing.
Cool.
Because obviously stress is one of the number one root cause issues.
Yeah.
Stress throws off your cortisol. Cortisol throws off your other hormones, which throws off testosterone, estrogen, right? So it's like, it starts with stress, which is a lot of times your adrenal hormones. So a saliva or urine test is going to give you on a cellular level, on a tissue level, what your levels are. Blood is going to just show you what's in your blood. You might have plenty in your blood, but your tissues could be deficient.
Got it.
So I like doing those, and those are 4 or 5 times, so you can see your circadian rhythm.
Oh, that's great.
Okay, maybe your cortisol. Okay, my cortisol's 10. Well, it's supposed to be 5, and then it was supposed to be 20.
Yeah.
Once you got moving.
Yeah.
So getting one number, that doesn't tell me anything, right?
True.
So I like those kinds of tests because that can get people's levels up so that they have more energy, and then they can do the diet better. They can do the stress reduction better because they have more energy.
So that's like over the course of a day. They're doing a saliva test maybe multiple times a day, right?
Like right when they get up, maybe 10, 12, dinner, and then like when they go to sleep. Yeah.
Got it.
You're going to...
Instead of just a snapshot, you're getting a whole daily picture of what their body's doing.
Exactly.
And what's the length of
man.
period
It's
of time
phenomenal.
of something like that? You're creating the benchmark for that.
To correct that, or what do you mean?
Yeah. So like if you're going to create like an adrenal test.
Yeah.
I've actually never had an adrenal test. I would love to get one.
Yeah.
But is that over the course of a week? Is that over the course of 2 to 3 days that you're going to set the baseline and then you're going to go look at that again? How is that done?
Well, I mean, you're just going to do it one day.
One day. Okay.
Yeah, you try to get like your average day.
Okay.
I made the mistake. I went to a Lightning game, and I was like, oh my gosh, man, my cortisol's through the roof at night. And then I was talking to the other doctor I worked with. He's like, well, what were you doing that night? I was like, it's not a Lightning game. He's like, well, duh.
Yeah, no
Yeah, totally. Like, you were hyped up. You're like,
Yeah.
So, don't, do it like a regular day.
Good point. Good point.
Yeah.
And then you treat it in layers.
Okay.
Right? Like the DHEA and cortisol. Address that first. Kind of get the circadian rhythm right.
Mm-hmm.
And then, if testosterone's low or whatever, then you hit that next.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And then maybe 4 months later, once you've fixed everything, you've had like 90 days, things are better. Hey, retest, see where you're at again.
Yeah, definitely.
So...
That's awesome, man. I love that. And so we definitely want to link that webinar. So we'll get that from you. Link it to our show notes that anyone listening can go check that out.
Yeah.
I think that's going to be massively helpful, man, for them learning more.
Yeah. I just redid it like on our website, axholisticmedicine.com. Services, I got like a gut tab, an adrenal tab.
Awesome.
So I put like kind of these main ones I like to talk about.
Yeah. It's
right
like a
on
database, really. Like, yes, it's your website for your practice, but it's like a database. I was checking it out, and it's so much information.
People are asking me for stuff. I'm like, I'm just, even like front desk, like, where's this document? I'm like, I'm just going to put everything on our website.
Yeah.
No one can find anything, Like,
It's amazing.
Yeah, that's awesome.
That's cool.
Man. That's awesome.
Give it the go-giver, man.
Like Google Drive and our website. You can find it.
Got it.
Yeah, man. So, what are what are your goals, man? For you got a successful practice, multiple locations, doing kind of different services in different places here. You love to travel. You love, being outdoors and all that stuff. What are you, where do you see yourself going the next 5-10 years with both business, life, just in general?
Again, I love your guys' pillars because it's so, important to me and, everyone watching. But kind of that purpose side, right? So I feel like
one.
I was so focused on, starting a business and, really enjoyed helping people just like myself had similar issues. But then, it's like kind of got there in business, I could take my foot off the gas a little bit. I could start sleeping a little bit more.
Yeah.
Like my life it wasn't like a rat race, right? Where my adrenals and everything was just burned out. And, things were a little bit better financially. I had a little bit more time to travel and do the things I wanted. But then, I kind of started to get to a point where I'm like, well, I have less stress and I'm doing fun things. But, but now that purpose side has started to go down, right? Because I'm not working as much, maybe helping as many people or the next leg of business of how I can help more people and do more. So, and you'll realize when you're not living on purpose, your energy starts to go down.
Yeah.
Right? Even though you're sleeping more, you might be more tired. A lot of people have anxiety, depression, they're tired all the time. And, I felt that a little bit, to be honest. So the next leg for me is like, hey, I want to get back in, I want to add, kind of make sure I'm still living on purpose and growing. Because again, we think you have a good business, you have money, you can travel, you can do what you want, you're going to be happy. Well, that's not true. Yeah. You end up more tired and depressed than ever.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's not just about resting. I think, living on purpose gives you a lot of energy and can help reduce your stress levels.
Yeah.
Even though it might be a stressful thing you're doing, it can lower your stress levels. So that's kind of the next leg for me is I feel like I got out of school, and it's like, okay, well, what's I think just creating that balance. Hey, make sure, I don't need to go start 5 more businesses and do anything crazy right now. I need to still be able to sleep, but then, just traveling around the world and doing whatever you want isn't going to make you happy either.
Yeah.
Just like,
That's a really good point.
Just being selfish and doing stuff that, makes you happy, like, that's not going to make you happy.
Yeah.
So that's kind of for me. I'm right now trying to find balance. I'm trying to get more of that purpose side, more of that business side, a little bit bigger in my life.
Yeah.
And, now that I have a little bit more time, get back into my health a little bit more. We're a bit like ozone therapy, IVs, hyperbaric. I want to start
that's cool stuff, man.
I want to get a little slice of the pie of my life too, a little bit more geared towards putting back into my health.
Yeah, for sure.
So people, I guess everyone says, it's all about everything in moderation and, it's just so true.
Yeah.
Having this. So for me, I'd say finding balance.
Yeah.
And purpose is kind of my...
That's kind of what we talk about, like for longevity, right? Like you can't be, like you've got a table that has 4 legs and one of those legs is taken away, that table's going to fall down, right? Yeah. And that's like the balance of life, right? Like you got to have all your things like holding you up. Health, you got to have the purpose, right? You got to be optimized in all areas or else that's not a longevity play, right? And that's kind of what we... It's the purpose of this, man.
And there's seasons of your life where you got to really focus, when you start a business, like... No, it's not the time to be getting extra sleep, right?
True,
you might have to put a year into it, Yeah. So you have those seasons where you're going to be out of balance a little bit. And I think that's okay. Yeah. It's a balancing act,
Right, for sure.
It's all about like expectations, right? And knowing kind of the seasonality of it, of when your health is taking, there's implications to your health from a longevity perspective, I think is like a big thing too. That's something I'm like thinking of as we gear up and even do things like this and to empower other people, but we take in the mindset of like expectations of what that's going to do to our families, right?
Yeah, for sure.
And those things. But let me tell you, I got a question in regards to, you said you love basketball. I'm a big basketball dude. I love basketball. I wish I played actually a little bit more, but I grew up playing basketball and that level of competition has just never left me. Like, I love competing. I don't know if that's something you love doing or you see that in life, but as you balance those things and then you say living on purpose, what is that level of like, what intentionality and that purpose and maybe even that level of like self-competition that you're trying to promote through those maybe some goals that you're setting?
Yeah, just goals I'm setting for myself.
Yeah, so or if it's maybe even a day-to-day, just like, I like for me, competition of just getting that 1%. I think it's the James Clear model of like getting that 1% improvement every day. Why do I step into a cold plunge? Why do I do genuinely love going to the gym. Like I don't necessarily love going to the gym, but I love like we have a community of guys that work out with kettlebells. So that's a level of competition, you know,
Yeah.
that I have with myself. It's like kind of a mind game of like,
Yeah.
I want to improve. I want to get a little bit better. So like whether it's a day by day,
Yeah.
year by year, whatever it is it maybe even if it's like, you know, a hobby like golf,
Yeah.
basketball, or even in your practice, starting up those businesses, but having that balance. Are you competing? Are you challenging yourself on a daily basis?
Yeah.
Or annual basis?
I mean, absolutely. It's like, it's that whole, if you're not moving forward, you're moving backwards.
That's right. Yeah.
And, you know, I'm big on, I like playing golf, basketball.
Nice.
But then with golf, it was like, oh, you know, I shoot the same every time. I'm like, it's not even fun anymore, you know?
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, now I'm getting back, putt, you know, go 20 minutes, putt in the morning, shit, you know, kind of dial it in. Okay, now I'm moving, I'm getting better.
Yeah.
I'm seeing, now it's fun, it's fulfilling.
Yeah.
So I just think, yeah, so for me, definitely with, you know, with golf right now is my big kind of competitiveness.
Okay.
And I have like $1,000 bet with my neighbor that he can't beat me next year. So I'm like, all right, I gotta really practice now. But you know,
I love that.
That makes it fun.
Yeah, 100%.
And whether it's your spiritual life, whether it's your business, whether it's sports, some people maybe aren't as competitive as us, but I still think it's universally true that you're gonna be a lot happier if you're moving forward.
Yeah.
Right.
100%.
Just as far as just your health, that creates a lot of happiness and fulfillment when you're growing and you're pushing forward. Like I said, that was one of the times I kind of felt the worst, when it's like growth. Okay, I kind of made it. I took my foot off the gas, and then I was like, well, now I'm bored and depressed almost, you know?
Yeah.
Just pushing forward.
Absolutely.
With stuff like that is just so important.
That's
Yeah.
cool.
I've felt that before. I know exactly what you're saying. When like your practice could be successful, you could be seeing patients all day, every day, but if it's like kind of that same almost monotonous structure,
Yeah.
sometimes at least what I've experienced is like that purpose starts to kind of fade out of your forefront.
Yeah.
But then you get a patient who comes in, you help them, dude, and they have a remarkable transformative experience, and they're praising you how much, and then it's like boom, that purpose is right back. Like, I know why I do this, what it's for, right? And I think that's awesome, man. That changing lives.
You know, people that don't have businesses, I mean, we're just always inundated with, you know, sports business, like easy to find goals and stuff. But I think for the everyday person, it's just all around you. You know, even if you have a great relationship, great marriage, it's like, it can always be better.
Yeah.
So even just creating a game for yourself, how can I get that much better? What can I do to just be the best? Okay, well, you know, I'm not married, so maybe I'm not the best person to speak. Well, you know, I'm going to start writing them a letter every week and just like wow them,
Wow.
right? You know, or
That's
just something like that.
Yeah.
Even with your marriage or sport, like anything in life, you can find a way to next level and grow in it. And you know, I just think that's on the mindset part is just to always be challenging yourself.
And what that does to like your overall like well-being when you do that type of stuff, like I mean that's like next level. I just like wanted to tap into a few documentaries because I'm like like high level guys really intrigue me, and so I was watching a documentary. I watched one brief one on Tom Brady, and then I watched another brief one on Dorian Yates, who he's a 6-time Mr. Olympia champion. He's just like jacked, dude, like huge. But I was just watching the two, and I've like growing up in the 80s, I just like love Michael Jordan.
Yeah.
And so like the thought process always comes to, you win a championship, right? Then you win another one, then you win another one. You know, like at what point were you like, man, these are getting boring?
Been there, done that.
Been there, done that, right?
Yeah.
And so then I started thinking about it, and when I was watching this Dorian Yates thing, and he was a little bit different because like he was going through excruciating pain lifting weights, like excruciating pain, to then like at points like making himself sick to win Mr. Olympia, right?
Yeah.
And so I'm like, and then he's winning it 3, 4, 5, 6 times. And so I'm like, dude, what is the separator? What's the separator? And I thought about this, and I was like, they fell in love with the process so much that the championship became inevitable. So when they got to the championship, they're like, we're here, we're going to win it regardless. But I love the process and the day-to-day so much that the championship becomes inevitable. And I was like, then I thought back, I'm a big book reader, and I like John Wooden wrote about that. John Wooden, being in basketball, won 13 national championships.
It was expected.
It was expected.
Yeah.
You go into the game, you practice so hard, but you enjoyed the game so much. The game became easy, right? And so I was like processing through this. So anyways, we have a newsletter I send out on a weekly basis. I was like, I wrote about it, right? And then at the end, and I was like, yeah, so I've been voted the world's best dad 7 straight years. This is how I did it. But the reality is like, I only needed 4 votes, right? I got 3 girls and a wife, that's all I needed.
Yeah.
But the reality is like that same thing. Like, I'm not going to give up on my kids. Like, I'm not going to give it up on my wife. But those are the small things of falling in love with the process over and over and over again. That makes you the world's greatest, right?
Yeah.
That makes you to show up for game time, right? You got it in a dad. You're showing up game time every day. But the reality is it's like falling in love with the process so much, the championship becomes inevitable. So anyways, that's just something what I was like learned just watching these documentaries. It's a mindset game, but you got to fall in love with the process. Yeah.
Yep.
It's good stuff.
Yeah. And man, we talk about that all the time. Like a couple of our last episodes were about how you can use your mind to override that fear or whatever it might be, right? Your conscious mind controls your subconscious, which then controls your like automatic actions that you do, right? And how do we shift into that? Like, I just do this, right? Or like when we got into like how to teach people how to fast, we did a whole episode on like how to learn to fast if you've never done it before. And it's like, start by not just like grabbing whatever's in front of your face and putting it in your mouth. Like most people just walk in the kitchen and there's food. I'm just gonna eat that food, right? And it's like, you said his word, gamification. Like, I thought you were about to hop on that because you're like, you're always like, yo, how do we gamify this? How do we make this like something that's like fun to do and not just like something I have to do, right?
That's right.
I think that's super huge. But yeah, man, with our mission here and like the purpose of helping people to optimize their health, we touch on the pillars. We've already kind of talked about it, but we got the 6 pillars of fuel, like what we put into our body, movement, sleep, mind, so like mindset, spiritual health, and then like purpose and work, and how these things, like the concept full fueled, how do these things fully fuel us? Tell me, man, how do you stay full fueled? Work, life, all of that. Like, what are your, I don't know, give a top few things.
Most people, when they think, fuel, it's like, oh, diet is like 90% of it, but like, it's one out of your 6 pillars.
Yeah.
So, and I just find that to be so true. And I've found that a lot more true over the last 5 or 6 years. As far as food goes, I'm someone that is kind of active and busy. Kind of my biggest things that I've taught to a lot of my patients that are a lot like me. I have an air fryer and a pressure cooker.
Same.
And those are like life
Game changers, bro.
Game changers. Dude. Like, I think I wouldn't be able to live now without them. Like,
yeah.
So, gut health wise. So I just think soup and broth is just, the number one thing you can do for gut health. People are like, well, no, I'm eating raw, doing a lot of juices. It's like, yeah, you're getting a lot of nutrients, but that doesn't heal the gut lining, right? So I'm big on, every week or two making a big thing of that soup, putting it into go things. So I can in the morning grab it, bring it to work, put it in the air fryer, in the toaster of an air fryer, just heat it up in the bowl. Don't even have to switch bowls, It's easy, quick. Because right, that's a big thing. I don't have time to cook. I'm busy. I'm working. Well,
efficiency.
No, you're not being efficient. You can do things like this.
Yeah.
So I'm big on that. And then, hey, I can grab a piece of salmon out of the fridge, asparagus, put that on a tray, put it in there. I'll go shower. When I get out 8 minutes later, it's done.
Yeah.
Love that. So fuel for me is efficiency, I think, a lot. I'm, big on the 80-20 rule, too. Hey, like, go hard during the week. And then on the weekend, go out, have a burger or whatever.
Enjoy your life a little bit, yeah.
Kind of the happiness aspect of it is big. If maybe something's not the healthiest, but, like, if you find a lot of enjoyment and maybe you're going out to eat with people and you're having really good fulfilling conversations and stuff like that, that health benefit by far outweighs.
I agree.
Maybe your body having to detox a little bit from it. You're getting a very high net positive. So it's like I always think of things as positive or negative, like collectively together.
That's huge.
I think a lot of people don't really do that. They're just like black and white, yes or no. But it's like, no, you have to look at the situation. My mom, I remember she wasn't really juicing much. She's like, well, she bought like the cold press one and whatever, and I'm like, she had the other one. I'm like, listen, if you'll juice more with the other one that's not as good, you know, but it's less stress.
Right.
It's quicker. That's probably going to be a net positive.
Yeah.
Right? So don't be stressed out that you're not doing the best. You know, like, how much time is it taking out of your day?
Mm-hmm.
What's the stress level it's putting on your body?
Yeah.
And so I like to look at those decisions as far as what I eat and those things a little bit more collectively than anything a lot of people do.
Yeah.
And you like the movement part, like I said, just we've been talking about. I think make gamify it. Make the exercise a game. You know, people like lifting, you know, they want to just get stronger or you know, like you got to set that goal and make it fun for yourself.
Right.
You know, purpose, we talked about mindset. Yeah, I mean, it's just like, those are amazing, man. You did a good job with that because it's
I appreciate it, man.
Those, but I think the key point there is, like I said from the beginning, is those are all important. People think it's crazy me saying this, you know, owning like a functional medicine office, but the nutrition part, like you have to have it, but it's really not the most important part.
Mm-hmm.
Like it has to be there, but
Dude, that's awesome.
You know, your mindset, right? A good example, I remember I was like, you know, eating on the go. I was stressed out. I was like, man, eating really healthy, but then I was getting like cramps and like gas, and I'm like, what the heck? Well, my mind, you know, was stressed, so my mind wasn't telling my gut to digest the food properly. So I wasn't absorbing those nutrients, you know, I was creating gas and stuff like that. And there's other times, like I'm on vacation, like eating everything that I want, and I'm like, man, my stomach feels great, I'm digesting well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because my brain was in a more relaxed kind of rest and digest.
Parasympathetic was on, yeah.
So it's like, yeah, it's not just what you eat, right? It's the kind of that mindset part can make or break what you're eating.
Yeah.
I don't think people think about that.
That is like so true and like pivotal too, and like really understanding. I'm a big cold plunge guy. I like absolutely love it. I thrive on it. But like the parasympathetic state is just so important at opening up because it like relaxes your body. So when you can treat food like exactly what you're saying, you know, I learned this a couple weeks ago. I learned this like the top down approach, and I had no idea that like even opening up your parasympathetic state and like not like engaging your phone or other type of electronics creates more saliva in your mouth, which ultimately is going to create more stomach acid for you to then break down your food and not be like super tense and tight all the time, which then, you know, obviously creates that bloating. But if you can just like slow down and almost have like a level of gratitude towards food and be like, man, and smell it for a second, maybe even pray to God, you know, hey, like, thank you for this food, right? And just really enjoy like the taste of it, that burger actually breaks down a little bit easier, right? That all those things, like maybe not the best of, but like, you know, your body's in such a relaxed state. You open up the parasympathetic, you're having quality conversations, you're not touching your phone. You're like, oh, actually, like my body feels better. Like I can break down food a lot faster. And so anyways, I think that's like so crucial and really understanding of like how to approach like food and then the processing of it.
You guys are familiar with betaine, HCl?
Yep.
Yeah, stomach acid?
Yeah.
That's honestly probably one of my favorite secret supplements that people just don't know about it, which is stomach acid. So yeah, when you're stressed out, your stomach doesn't make those juices and you don't digest well. So a lot of my patients, I start them on that. I'm like, hey, start taking this with your meals, right? And that's just like can be a game changer for a lot of people. But yeah, most people don't know. Well, I take digestive enzymes. I'm like, no, this is stomach acid. This is different than the enzymes, right?
Eating that. Yeah.
And so, yeah, when we're stressed out and we're not sitting and praying and like, okay, I'm going to eat this meal, it's, I think, one of the big missing links in that, digestive process.
Huge. Man. So check that out. We can put that in the show notes too.
Definitely. And I think you talk about that a lot on your website. You have videos and specific topics on that. Man, absolutely crushed that answer to that question, by the way. That was like, that was fantastic.
That was good.
Yeah, that was amazing. Man, we're definitely going to bring you back on the show. Get more in depth on stuff. I want to thank you for coming. Tell everybody where they can find you. What's your website, your social, all that stuff.
Yep. Just axholisticmedicine.com. Services you can read, holistic medicine, kind of what we do, and then integrative testing. You want to learn about the stool test, the adrenal testing we offer on there, and then social media, just my name, Dr. Jordan Axe, Instagram, Facebook, and you can see kind of my thoughts on health, and if I'm doing a hike, see awesome, me doing that.
Yeah.
But yeah, thanks so much for having me on.
Awesome, man. It was great having
thanks
you on the show,
much,
bro.
Man. I appreciate you.
That's how we
Dr.
live.
Axe. Live beyond limits. Live full fueled.